you wear my Levi jeans. Stuck the river with Judas. Tearing down the barrel of his gun. Yes, he shot me down. I died and someone brought me back to life, but never to my senses. Pounce on the shit thing. Pounce on the shit thing.
Hello, welcome in. Hello, you guys, welcome to my channel. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about something a little different. It's her story. We will do his story later. Let's talk, y'all. So as y'all know about Nefertiti, right? Now, I told y'all these are one of the women, a list of women. I have a list. That's my favorite. I do. She was born 1370 to 1330. Now, one thing about her, they're still trying to find her tomb, and they can't find it. So Nefertiti, she was the wife of Pharaoh Akhenaten. I think that's his name, and her husband was known for the radical rule of state religious policies, and they promoted on exclusivity and possibly even monotheistic religion, which is antism, and it was centered on the Sundays, the redneck connection to the royal household. But the thing with her that everybody loved about her was she was they would say that she was a generous queen. She was a sweetheart. She wasn't as whatever people would think, right? So Nefertiti, her life before her marriage, she was a noble in the Amarna. I'm sorry. Hold on. Everything about before she was married, she had a sister named Mut Beneret, and a woman used trade and carried the title of nurse of the great royal wife. So Tay's husband carried the title Godfather. Now they're also saying that Nefertiti, let me go through with it. They're not, let me go ahead and play something for y'all, because I'd rather for them to tell you than me. I don't even know what happened, but I love her. Hey, I love Nefertiti. She's one of my favorites. So we're going to play a little bit of it. They call her Beautiful One. Ooh, them allergies. Hold on, y'all. Give me a minute. I'm sitting here making chilling all them spices. Everybody want the name Nefertiti, child. Okay, so this is AI, but let's play it.
Accurate representation of what Queen Nefertiti looks like. Don't be tricked by Hollywood movies who depict
Nefertiti, and I see somebody in the comments saying she wasn't black. Yes, she was. The person that's over Egypt, when they celebrate Egypt and they have pictures, if you look at, I'm gonna have to find that video because it's on here somewhere. I saw it. If you look at it, I'm gonna look on YouTube. I think it's over there. And they were all black, and he showed all of them, which were black, the same skin tone.
her as Caucasian. After all, Egypt is in Africa. Let me correct a misconception. This land, my glorious realm, is not Egypt. That is a word spun by the Greeks. No, we know her as Kemet. And what does Kemet mean? It is the Black Land. Those pyramids you admire, you credit pharaohs like Khufu for them. A grave error. We didn't build them. They were already here, left by an ancient civilization. We simply found them and made them our own. Don't believe me? Well, in the not-too-distant future, your scientists will discover what exactly lies beneath the Giza Plateau. It certainly won't be a grave. I am a more accurate representation of what Queen Nefertiti looks like.
I'm finna show
Don't be
y'all.
tricked by Hollywood movies who depict.
I'm finna show y'all the parade. Let me share it with y'all. Because he had a parade for Egypt.
With all the fanfare that befits Egypt's ancient kings and queens, the highly anticipated and meticulously planned Pharaoh's Golden Parade was the biggest cultural event Cairo has seen in recent years. Traveling in individual vehicles bedecked in ancient Egyptian style, the mummified royals, 22 of them in all, were moved from Cairo's Egyptian Museum in Tahrir Square. They moved through the capital streets to a new location, a state-of-the-art facility called the National Museum of Ancient Civilization, where they were greeted by a concert from the Cairo Philharmonic featuring famous singers and then received by the Egyptian president. The pharaohs are the stuff of legend and include Amenhotep I, Ramses II, Ramses III, and Queen Nefertiti.
You've got two worlds, really.
I learned about Imhotep. He was 18 when he passed. And I was like, are you serious? He reigned at a very young age and passed. He was like 18 or 21, they believed.
Coming together, you've got the curators who normally move these things without the world watching and prepare on. So the logistics behind it were very complex, and you can imagine they've been working on it for a very long time, and I think they really pulled it off. It's got the spectacle, but we also felt that everything was done safely.
The security operation was a mammoth undertaking. Streets were...
I know, y'all, because he showed pictures of them. Here we go. Is this the one? I know the tie. But let me see. I'm gonna have to find that video and get it played. But that's part of the parade. Really, they had showed everybody. Like when I say everybody, everybody. And the pictures that they had, they were black. They were black. They were black. I don't know why people say that. Because you had Nubian Egyptians, which are black. Then who it is then? Talking about that ain't Nefertiti. Then who is it? All right, let's go into some history. And then they say they found her tomb. I don't hear a lot of people finding it because she got sick while she was ruling. When she was ruling over Egypt. Let me show it to y'all. She got sick bad after having her kids.
One of the most beautiful and mysterious women in ancient Egypt disappeared without a trace. But what happened to her? Nefertiti was an Egyptian queen who married King Akhenaten, known for introducing monotheism to Egypt by replacing the worship of multiple gods with the worship of Aton, the sun god. Despite her legendary status, no one has ever found her tomb, and she vanished from any historical records. After King Akhenaton's 12th regnal year, one of his princesses died, and 3 others disappeared. Nefertiti also vanished, but there is no record of her death or evidence that she was ever buried in the Amarna royal tomb. Her body has never been found. Some believe that she secretly took her husband's place as pharaoh after he died, before handing the throne to Tutankhamun. Queen Nefertiti, one of...
Husband erased Nefertiti from history. But here's the crazy part. The people of Egypt agreed with it. Nefertiti wasn't just a queen. She ruled beside Pharaoh Akhenaten. Together, They did the unthinkable. They banned all.
I'm sorry. It wasn't Imhotep. It was King Tut. Take that back. King Tut was her son. King Tut died at a young age. Imhotep died old. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. King Tut died at a young age. That was her son.
Gods and forced Egypt to worship only one, the Aten. This destroyed everything Egyptians believed in. Priests lost power, temples were shut, festivals were banned. The afterlife itself was thrown into chaos, and Nefertiti supported it. She publicly promoted the new religion. To the people, she became the face of the heresy. Egyptians hated them. Many secretly prayed to the old gods and wished for their deaths. When Akhenaten died, the backlash was brutal. The priests returned, declared damnatio memoriae, and erased Nefertiti from history. We found her hidden chamber, but her tomb? Still missing. What happened to her? Comment below. Her husband erased Nefertiti from history. But here's the crazy part. The people of Egypt agree.
Okay. It's not really much on her. But they say she had the same features as her, which is true. I mean, okay.
Recently, Henri Sterling in Switzerland, he's come out and said, listen, this is a 100-year forgery.
If there is.
So basically, they're saying that's not the true depiction of Nefertiti. A lot of people believe, oh, well, we found her. She's in British. No, because when Nefertiti had passed, and it is said that she, oh Lord, I hit my remote, that she didn't want, she wanted to be buried somewhere. She wanted her own tomb. She wanted her own tomb. She didn't want to share her tomb with nobody. She wanted her own. So she wanted her own tomb. She didn't want to share with anyone. Because it says that if it seems like the Nefertiti was a female pharaoh ruled by Nefertiti, she outlived her husband and held great influence over the royal family. If this is the case, that influence presumably Nefertiti's own life, it would have ended by 3 of Takatan's reign when she died, and the boy king succeeded her. 1331 BC. In that year, Takatan changed his name to Haman, which is interpreted as the evidence of his return to official worship of Amun, and abandoned Amarna to return to the capital Memphis and Thebes, according to Aiden. So Egyptologists are saying that oh, this is a picture of her. So where they got that other picture from? I'm going to show y'all the sculptures in a minute. Hold on. Let me show y'all the sculpture. Because the picture that they've been giving out ain't it. Everybody's saying the same thing. That ain't it. This is a sculpture of her. That's a head of her. That's what she looked like. Here you go. This is her. Well, that's her. And that is him. That is her husband. Wow. So they think that they found her, but when they found her, they said that they found her mummy, in which they believed, and she was about 45 years old at the time of her death. Her left arm had bent behind her chest, and the identification is based on associated with the mummy. Let me see where it go to how she passed, because they were saying, somebody said that they believed that she was sick because she died at 45. She didn't live a very long life, that she was very sick. Let me share this video back, but she passed young. Allegedly.
Black. All of the statues in the Cairo Museum of Nefertiti is black. Only this one little white statue in Germany is white. Something's wrong with that picture.
Marx was instructed to use the face of Ludwig's wife, Emily Brochard. So the face that supposedly was the most beautiful face of ancient history is actually the features of Ludwig Brochard's wife, Emily Brochard. So now, that's not even the half of it. Beautiful statue, came out of the ground. No, it didn't come out of the ground. What happened was Brochard, was forced to bring it forward after 11 years. So what did he do? He took the head that Marx made, went back to the Tel Alamar site, covered it up with dirt, and came out and had a photo op as if that's how he found it.
A number of scholars have come out quite recently.
All right, so that's some of the stuff on her. I mean, she ruled for a very long time. She changed a lot, and she wasn't. Some people say she was mean but beautiful. Some people say she was beautiful and sweet. So it's like two different things. But majority of the people have said she was beautiful and a sweet woman. I do want to do one thing on her because she is like one of my favorites, and that's one thing I noticed when it comes to Cleopatra, Nefertiti, and stuff like that. Is not much on them. Cleopatra is like the forgotten one, and Nefertiti, her stuff isn't that exposed, but then it comes a different image of who they believe she is, which is crazy to me because I'm still trying to figure out why. If this is Nubian Egypt, they're dark skinned. Is Egypt is in Africa, right? Now, see if you meant the northern part of Egypt. Here's my question. Why do you think in y'all mind that they were fair skinned or white? I'm not understanding. This is in Africa. Come on, let's be for real. I guess they try to do this depiction of it's a lot of, yeah, we know Johannesburg is very versatile. It's not just Africans, right? It's different cultures, different people. You have white, you have Indians, you have all of that all in one. So my thing is, why do y'all want to pick this for the whole Africa? It does not make sense to me. But we're going to move on, y'all. So this here is Marie Joseph Angelique. Marie Joseph Angelique, child, she was a slave. This one a little different. She was born a slave who lived in New France, which is Montreal, Canada. Well, I'm sorry, Old Montreal, as they would call it in Canada. She was believed to be born around 1705, 1710, but she died 1734, right? And it was generally accepted that she was guilty of an act of arson, but recently historians argued that she was innocent of the crime and was convicted more on the basis of reputation as a rebellious slave prone to running away than on the basis of actual evidence. Meaning that she didn't do that. She didn't commit the crime. But they went and they sat here and put that on her because they had nobody to put that on. So let's. Now, some people believe that she did do it. Some people believe that she somebody else did it, and that's normally they sat here and put it on her. So let me give you a background before we go into it. She was enslaved by she was born in 1705 in Madeira, which is Portugal in the Atlantic west of Morocco. Excuse me. At some point, she was enslaved by a Flemish man named Nikish Block and Nicholas Bleecker and brought to the New World. She worked as a slave in New England and then was sold in 1725 to Francis Paul de Franceville, an important French businessman from Montreal. After he passed away, she belonged to his widow, Teresa de Kong, aka MMD Frenchville. She was a slave in New England, New France. She worked on plantations, and she was forced to work in their home in Montreal and occasionally perform forced labor on a family's small farm on the island of Montreal, which is primarily produced supplies for Frenchville's training expeditions. She had 3 children, a boy in 1731 who lived only 1 month, and then she had twins who died 1732, and they died at 5 months. 5 months. The father listed was a Baptist. In the Baptist record was Jacques Caesar, a black slave from Madagascar who was enslaved by Enoch Gamlin, a friend of Frenchval. It is not known whether Angelique and Caesar were lovers, but by choice, or they just enslaved them and inbred her. Thank you. Hey, Cece. But they don't know if they breeded them together to have kids, to have more slaves, or they don't know. They're not sure. But from what they're saying, that she was involved with a relationship. Now she had another relationship too, right? But hold on before we get there. The enslavers forced them to have children. So basically, they forced them to have kids to produce. So this would boost what they were trying to do. It sounds familiar, don't it? Now they're forcing everybody to have kids. Don't that sound familiar? To produce boost the economy? Sound crazy, don't it? Crazy. Now, listen to this. In 1733, the year preceding the fire in her trial, Angelique was involved in a relationship with a white indentured servant, Claudie Thibault, who was employed by Frenchvilles. Following the death of Frenchville in November 1733, the widow was occupied with estates in Trois-Rivières and Frenchville as her brother-in-law Alexis to keep both her slave in her servant, which was Claudie, for her until she returned, because she had left. She had left, right? So all right, yeah, my bad. Okay, so listen. I want y'all to listen to this. They were they kept both of them. When they was away, Angelique and Thibault attempt to escape to New England, fleeing across the frozen St. Lawrence River and stopping to retrieve bread that Thibault had hidden in a barn in Longueuil in precipitation for their flight. However, the difficulty of winter travel forced them to take refuge in another town near the Chambly Road until the winter improved. They were captured a couple of weeks later and returned to Montreal by the military captains, acting in their capacity as local police. Now, Thunderbolt was in prison from March 5th, and then they let him out April 8th, the day before the fire. Angelique visited him several times while he was in jail, and she brought him food. Upon her arrest, Angelique was returned to Madame of de Frenchville, who did not have her discipline in any way for her attempted flight, possibly because she was already planning to sell her. So when she tried to leave, she was trying to sell her to somebody else. Now I want to get to this fire. So there was some tensions that was risen between the slave and the mistress, right? There was some tension going on. And before that tension, before the trial and everything, the widow found herself unable to control Angelique and intended to attempt an offer to by one of her deceased husband's business associates to purchase her for $600, 600 pounds of gunpowder. The offer was conditional, covering expenses for sending Angelique to Quebec City, where Conget lived. Fear of being sold and possibly ending in the West Indies may have been a factor in Angelique's early attempt to flee. So when I told y'all before that they would send them to the West Indies because in their mind they believe it was bad, it was best for them, it was more strict than where she was now. And the widow felt like Angelique was just too much. I don't see how she feel that way, right? But then there was some tensions already arisen between the widow and one of the mistresses. It was some issues. And what it said was she dismissed a free servant because of squabbling and disagreements with Angelique. And Angelique promised the widow that she could do all the work better than, the mistress, the servant, or whatever. And she was doing a great performance into keeping her and making her keep her mistress as well. Due to the promise, she sent the mistress away, but promised her that she would contact her after Angelique was shipped to Quebec. So she basically said, listen, I'm going to go ahead and keep her because she don't want to go. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use her until I'm ready not to use her anymore, right? So after Angelique boyfriend, her lover, got released, the widow wanted to demand his outstanding wages. She paid them, but warned him that he should never set foot onto her home again to see Angelique. Now let's get into this fire situation. So at 7:00 in the evening on April 10th, it was on a Saturday, 1734, a fire started on the south side of Rue St. Paul and spread it east of Rue St. Joseph. The fire was so intense that law enforcement officers could not get close to it. Many people initially sheltered in Hotel Dieu, but due to a strange wind blowing from the west, officers could not get west. The fire spread and destroyed the hospital in less than 3 hours. 45 houses was also destroyed due to people and took advantage of the general panic to steal many items from houses and covenants. The following entry of Sister Vernick illustrates the suddenness of the fire. So she said, April 10th, 1734, while what all was most quiet, and our thoughts are far from fatal mishap. At 7 in the evening, during our time of leisure, we heard a cry of fire. In the moment, we all rose to catch the sight of the whereabouts. It was sighted a neighboring house, and we rushed to contain the fire. But the Lord did not allow us to see it. All took refuge in our church, thinking we would be spared, but the flames rose adherently towards the church, which was just across the street from the burning houses, that we soon found ourselves engulfed. Rumors began to circulate accusing Angelique of having set the fire late in the evening. The Covenant's gardener Lewis even told her face to face about these rumors, although she denied them. The organ of rumors seems to have been comments made by Marie Manon, the young painted slave owned by Deacon's neighbor. If I'm butchering names, I'm sorry. The Barry D. Esser, who claimed she had Angelique, saying that her mistress would not sleep in her house that night. By the time the fire had gone out, popular opinion that Angelique had set the fire. She was found in the garden of the papers of the Hotel Dieu and taken to the King's Gallows to wait for a formal charge to filed against her. A warrant was also issued later for her lover, but although he was seen again on Tuesday morning following the fire 2 days ago, by the time the bailiff set out to arrest him, he had disappeared and was never seen again in New France. Angelique was charged and tried for starting the blaze. French law at the time allowed a suspect to be arrested based on public knowledge when the community agreed that a suspect was guilty. Over the next 6 weeks, the prosecution called a large number of witnesses, and none of them testified to seeing Angelique set the fire, but all claimed they were certain that she had done it. They testified at length as to Angelique's character as a badly behaved slave who often spoke to her owners, but no solid evidence was presented as her capability for the fire. Frustrated by the lack of sufficient evidence to condemn Angelique, the prosecution contemplated asking for permission to apply torture prior to the definite judgment. Highly unusual procedure, which was rarely allowed in New France. However, an eyewitness suddenly appeared. The 5-year-old daughter of Alexis Monnerie Amabel testified that she seen Angelique carrying a shovel of coals up the attic of the house the afternoon the fire started. The evidence finally allowed the prosecutor to close his case, and judge the 4 commissioners he summoned to participate in the sentence all concurred that Angelique was guilty. So they found her guilty over what the little girl said. But did they know that to be true? And it says, to everything we considered, we declared and said accused Marie Joseph Angelique significantly guilty and convicted of having set fire to the house of the Dame Frenchial, causing a burning of a portion of the city, in reputation of what we have condemned to make her honorable amends disrupt. A noose around her neck and carrying hands of a flaming torch, weighing 2 pounds, before the main door and entrance of the parish church of the city, where she would be taken and led by the executioner of the High Court in tumbrel used for the garbage. Wow. So basically they called her garbage. They said she was garbage. Hey, Silver Moon, they called her garbage. This is sad. Like, it came out, that she did start the fire, but it became a legacy for her. Because it's different stories. I'm going to let the video play, but it's like different stories. Like, first you hear she didn't start it, and then you hear she did. And then, I mean, they called her garbage. Like, why would you believe that she deserved to be with garbage? It breaks your heart, don't it? It's so sad. Let's play some videos, y'all. And then we're going to get into another revolutionary.
Yo, Marie Joseph Angelique was a Black Canadian G who allegedly burnt down Montreal's French merchants' quarter in 1734 as an act of resistance to enslavement. How did she do it, and why did she do it? Well, let me explain. Angelique was born in Portugal and was first enslaved there. Eventually, she was sold to an enslaver in Canada, and it was there that she was enslaved as a domestic servant in Montreal. In 1733, Angelique politely asked her mistress for freedom. Of course, she said no, and Angelique went on a rampage. She started talking back to her enslaver, threatened to roast her, and she also threatened to roast and kill other enslaved Black folks in the house. In 1734, Angelique was sold for 600 pounds of gunpowder, and she wasn't having it. After a failed attempt at running away, she allegedly burnt down the merchant's quarter. 46 buildings gone, and she was executed without proof. Yo, Marie Joseph Angelique.
So,
Marie Joseph Angelique has got to be one of the most misunderstood Black Canadian women to ever exist. This is part 2, where we're going to be discussing what actually led to Angelique's eventual execution. So make sure to go back, watch part 1, then come back here, and we'll see each other again. So her lover, he was jailed for about 2 months, but she just went back to living with the enslaver for the time being. While her man was in jail, she continued to visit him, keep him company, keep his will up, be like, you're good, babe, like, you'll get out of here, it's fine, we'll be together. And she would bring him food. So she was really like a ride or die type of lady. She was my type of girl. And 2 days after he was free, the Great Fire of Montreal began.
Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that.
Okay, this was a huge fire, and it was kind of devastating because they had literally just had a fire not too long ago. So another one hit, and it burned down over 46 homes and businesses, and it actually burned down the hospital as well. Now, this was extremely upsetting to the rich white community because a lot of their homes had been burned down.
Eat the rich!
And everyone automatically blamed Marie. Everyone said that it was her fault. Even though she's like, I didn't do it. What? This wasn't me. This was not me. The other fire that I set originally to get out of here, yeah, I did that. And I'm going to say that I did that. But this, I didn't do this. I did not do this. But she was a poor, Black, enslaved woman who was rebellious, and she wasn't kind natured. She was rude. People didn't like her. So she made an extremely easy target. So Marie went on to have a 6-week trial in which 25 people testified. No one saw her start the fire. No one had any evidence of it until the last week of trial. Someone's 5-year-old daughter came in and said that they saw Marie carrying hot coals to the roof of one of the homes where they assumed the fire had been started. And that essentially sealed her fate.
Something ain't right.
Now, throughout this whole time, Marie maintained her innocence. She's like, I didn't do it. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. If I did it, I would have said that I did it. They proceeded to torture her. And when I say they, I mean they got an enslaved Black man to torture an enslaved Black woman to try and force a guilty admission out of her, and also try and get her to incriminate her lover, okay? Because they thought that he was in on it too. But when the lover heard that Marie was about to be arrested, he took off. He left her.
Well, just as I thought, trash.
And they never cared about finding him because he was never the real target anyways. So he went off and got to live a whole peaceful life. Our girl is over here being tortured for something she did not do. The torture was so severe that she eventually just admitted to doing it because she said, if you're going to kill me, just kill me. Let it be over and done with. Like, this torture is too much. So she was then dressed in all white clothing. They put her in a garbage bin and they transported her to the Notre Dame Basilica, in which she would admit to God and the judge that she was guilty. She would beg for forgiveness before she was publicly executed and her body was put on display. They then burnt her corpse and let the ashes fly away in the wind. Now, many people believe that Angelique did this and it was an act of resistance. And many people believe that she did not do this and she was just a woman who was misunderstood. And I personally, I lean towards, I don't think she did it, because if she did do it, I think she would have just admitted to doing it right off jump. Like, she wouldn't have gone through this extensive trial and all of this process because she knew how things worked. She knew that her fate was already sealed from the beginning. So if she had done it, she would have just said she did it. But make sure to let me know what you think. And if you'd like to learn more about what happened with Mary Joseph Angelique, then make sure to tune into the newest podcast episode of Girl You Haven't Heard. You can find that on your favorite streaming platform by searching Girl You Haven't Heard, the name of the podcast, or on YouTube, you can search my name, Jada Hope, and it'll come right up. If you are a reader, rather than listening to something, then you can head over to my blog over on Medium, where I do have a new blog post up about my opinion about what happened with Mary Joseph Angelique. And it's also Black History Month. So make sure you're giving myself and other Black creators that little bit of extra support. Head over to the link in my bio to become a patron, and make sure to follow my blog on Medium.
All right, so that's part of that. Now, I think it's sad as heck. First of all, in sir, I'm sorry, that's Victoria, sir. Why was nobody looking? But like they said, they wanted to use her. They wanted to use her. So we're gonna go into Victoria Monti. Well, I should have kept her picture up. Hold on. This is Victoria Monti. So Victoria was a Dahomey warrior and freedom fighter in the army of Jean Jacques Dessalines during the Haitian Revolution War. Before the revolution, she and Dessalines had been enslaved on the same estate, and the two remained close throughout her life, with him calling her auntie. Toya is to believe to her name is Andrea Toya Victoria Monti. Excuse me. She was born in, I know y'all heard about what's now Benin, but basically y'all remember She is King, the movie, and the homie around the warriors around that time. Hold on. Let me pull her up in TikTok. which is now Benin. So Benin was Dahomey in the present day. It is now Benin now. But some sources indicated she was a soldier there, and it was unclear whether she was abducted and enslaved or when she arrived in Haiti. Before the revolution, Toya worked alongside Dessalines as a slave of the estate of Henry Doclos. She was described as intelligent and energetic. So I'm going to play some stuff. Baby, she was another fighter. Baby, she was another fighter. Let's get it. So that was her life. I just told y'all a little bit, but let me tell you what she did. So Toya was reportedly a skilled warrior and a midwife. Oh, wait, I'm going too far. We're going to take what she did. So Toya was introduced hand-to-hand combat and knife throwing. The plantation owner was weary of their closeness and decided to transfer Victoria to D-Loger. Y'all heard that. So we done heard that twice, which was part of French and Canada dwelling, selling Jean Jacques to a black freedman named Dessalines. Toya was reportedly a skilled warrior, midwife, and healer who organized several rebellions before the Montimus meeting at Bois Cayman in 1791. During the slave rebellion and civil war, she fought a soldier in active service. On at least one documented occasion, she commanded soldiers in action during battle. At the head of about 50 slaves, there was Toya, a sidic in her hand, a hoe on one shoulder, and the indigo knife hanging from the belt of her jacket. Under Toya's command, one group was sent to deforestation, another to plowing, and others to harvest grain and put in large baskets. She had a strong voice and issued commands like a general. A small number of rebels under command of Toya was quickly surrounded and taken prisoners by the regime. During the battle, Toya escaped, pursued by two soldiers. A struggle took place between them and Toya. She injured one of them seriously, but the other helped. A few more soldiers arrived in time and took her as a prisoner. In 1804, Dessalines became emperor of Haiti, and he gave Toya the title of Duchess. When Toya was dying, the emperor urged his daughter to save her life, stating that she was an aunt and who shared his sufferings and emotions before the revolution. We're going to play some stuff about her. This is her. Neat. She fought them. She fought hard.
Kingdom of Dahomey, I was a woman warrior turned slave in Saint-Domingue. But my leadership allowed me to become an important figure in the Haitian Revolution. I am proud to be counted among courageous women such as Sonate Belair and Cecile Fatiman who fought for their freedom. After the birth of my nephew Jean-Jacques Dessalines on September 20, 1758, I took on the responsibility of teaching him the values of our culture and the art of war. Despite attempts by our owner to break our relationship, I continued to play a key role in the fight for freedom. After the proclamation of Haiti's independence on January 1, 1804, Jean-Jacques became emperor and I was elevated to the rank of imperial duchess. I devoted my life to fighting for the freedom and dignity of our people until my death on June 12, 1805. I am proud of the legacy I have left behind.
Victoria Monti, also known as Grand Toya, is regarded as one of the founding mothers of the Republic of Haiti. Freedom fighter and healer, Victoria was abducted from her native Dahomey Empire, a West African empire that existed between the 17th and early 20th century, now modern-day Benin. It is believed that Grand Toya belonged to the all-female elite army of the empire before her enslavement. They were dubbed the Dahomey Amazons by the invading European colonists and explorers who were terrified of them. Comparing them to the mythological Greek Amazons, for their bravery and for their fierce, often brutal, protection of the king. Toya met Jean-Jacques Dessalines when he was a child. They were enslaved in the same plantation. She taught him, trained him in combat, and fought alongside him in the slave rebellions, which became the Haitian Revolution. During the slave rebellion and civil war, she fought as a soldier in active service. On at least one documented occasion, she commanded soldiers in action during battle. At the head of about 50 men, there was Toya, with a scythe in her hand, a hoe on one shoulder, and an indigo knife hanging from the belt of her jacket. Under Toya's command, one group was sent to deforestation, another to plowing, others to harvest grain and put it in large baskets. She had a strong voice, and she issued commands like a general. A small number of rebels, under the command of Toya, was quickly surrounded and taken prisoner by the regiment. During the battle, Toya escaped, pursued by 2 soldiers. A struggle took place between them and Toya. She injured one of them seriously, but the other, helped by a few more soldiers who arrived in time, took Toya prisoner. Toya was reportedly a skilled warrior, midwife and healer, who organized several rebellions before the momentous meeting at Bois Caiman in 1791. Victoria Monti, also known as Grand Toya, is regarded as one of...
I'm playing one more.
My name is Victoria Monti.
Hold on. We watched those. So that's just a little bit about who she was. And I'm going to get ready in this live. But yeah, that's just a little bit of that. I'll be doing more of these. I'm going to find more. I'm going to do a mixture of both. It was another one. I'm not sure if it was her, but it was another one that was just like her. I think it was in Portuguese. Let me see if I can find it. Or was that Guyana? I think it was Guyana. Yeah. I found her. Yep. Let me make sure this is her before we get into it. Because she ain't on here. No, that's not her. I'm going to find her. I'm going to find the person I'm looking for. We're going to do one with that. But anyway, y'all, I hope y'all enjoyed the live. It was just a little bit of something. We're going to get into more into. I have a list of others I want to get into. I will see you guys. I will be doing another live. Oh, to my new subscribers, I meant to say that. Welcome to the channel. I cover crime, history things, political points, celebrity gossip, and mommy content creators. I will be back at, let me see what time I set this thing at. Because we got to talk about Ash Trevino, 13-year-old daughter being pregnant. I'll be back at 3:30. We got to get into that, into Ashley Trevino, Roselia Jenkins. They had another CPS call, and Olivia dad now wants to come into her life and take her kids. We're going to talk about the mommy content. It's called How They One and the Same. So please come in at 3:30. I will be back. Yeah, y'all heard what I said. Ask Trevino if y'all been following her on TikTok. The Hispanic mom, her daughter is pregnant at 13. She's been on GLP. We're going to talk about it. Not on this. I want to thank y'all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If there's anybody that you want me to look up and we talk about historically, let me know in the comment section. Share this with your kids. Share a little bit of this. Share a little bit of that. Look it up on TikTok. They'll be on TikTok. Let them know who they are. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
It's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride of my step, the curl of my lips. I'm a woman, phenomenally.
Birds singing in the dead of night. Deities broken